And I just don't like what they're doing offensively. I mean, sometimes I'm going like, what are they doing offensively? I don't know.
Hey, man, I love that we get our friend Garry Cobb on each and every single Monday, man. He is so kind to take time with us. Mm-hmm. And that was a gutsy performance, man. 21-18. You know, I thought they had the game in hand. They were at home, did Carolina. And when they got that punt block, I thought it changed the entire landscape of that game, and it changed the temperature, it seemed, on the sidelines. And, Garry, is that what you kind of saw too? It just changed the momentum.
Well, that was the play of the game. I mean, and, you know, it just took the air out of the Panthers. But really, Darnold was struggling. I mean, some of the throws he made outside, he had a guy open short. See, he's being greedy, trying to throw down, you know, to the second level. He's got 7 yards right there. Take the 7. He wouldn't take the 7. He was greedy, and it cost him. And you know, really 2 of those outside throws that he got picked off were because he was just being greedy. And, you know, I know he's had challenges in his decision-making, but clearly he's got an issue there. But, you know, you got to give the Eagles credit, too, because they baited him. You know, they basically, you know, didn't jump it until, boy, that ball was in the air. They're all over it. But they obviously came into the game with the thinking that he would make mistakes, and he's been making mistakes. Now, they should have had that game put away because that fumble that was in the end zone, you got 6 guys back there fighting for the ball, and they knock it out of bounds. They recover that ball, and that game's over just about, you know, because you got another touchdown, and it would have been so deflating for the Eagles crew, because they hadn't really been able to get anything going with their offense. But this is the kind of game, you know, I was joking around with some guys today. You know, we used to say in high school, an ugly ride will beat a sporty walk. You know what I mean? Because, you know, in high school, you got dudes with all kind of cars, man. You know, the thing raggedy, man. This thing's about to blow up. But it's getting us from point A to point B, and that's better than walking. So, you know, it's an ugly win, but, you know, really good teams find ways to win ugly games. Meaning they know, you know, they can steal games away, and they stole that game because Carolina had really been the better team the whole game. But 2 minutes, they took the lead, 2 minutes to go, and that's, you know, it's how it finishes. It's not how it goes and everything. So this is one that really they had. They played well enough to beat the 49ers, but the 49ers stole that game from them. Hey, whoever's got the lead when it's over, you get the W. So they'll take it. And it was kind of game where I got to give them credit in that they hung in there and continued to fight. And that's one thing about, you know, Jalen Hurts. I don't know that he's going to be the marquee quarterback and everything. I don't know that. But I do know that the kid's got He's got the toughness, mental toughness that you like to see in a leader.
Let me throw this at you too, and Garry, I think what you're pointing to with Carolina, I think Gannon and the coaching staff on the defensive side figured out, because if you don't have Christian McCaffrey in the backfield, they become so predictable.
Yes, they
and
do.
Like you said, they get greedy in the passing game, and it really reared its head in the second half. But if you're Gannon, and you know this, you and I have, you know, stats and goals for every game. Keep a team under 21 points, keep them under 280 yards of total offense. I mean, look, they kept them under 18 points, 5 of 15 on third down, which is exceptional. 267 yards of total offense, which again is exceptional, especially in today's NFL. Yeah. And they created 3 turnovers in this ball game. So what turned it around for them, you think, on defense in this game?
Well, you know, I think it was the turnovers. Think about it. Those turnovers were at key times, too.
Huge.
Because Jalen threw an interception. Eagles go back in, pick it off, you know, because he threw that interception. They're trailing, and, you know, they're like a touchdown away from not being able to come back. But they went in, and that was one of Darius Slay's interceptions, you know, and he had 2. And, Darnold, he's eyeballing where he's going with the ball. And, he's going to have problems the rest of the year. He cannot be so greedy. He could take be patient. That's what it is. But what they did is the defense went on the field and got the ball back after you had Jalen had thrown an interception. After the ball that was snapped over Jalen's head, they went back in and they got the ball back then too. So those two turnovers, see, that gave the team some life, because if they had to let them drive down and score, I think it would have been over for the Eagles. But they hung around, and when you let a team hang around, and I was sitting there, I'm going, oh boy, they're letting them hang around. Yeah. They're not putting them away. That ball was loose in the end zone. And, I don't know. I mean, nobody jumped on it. Whatever. I don't know how you let that ball get out of there, because, you had like 4 or 5 Panthers in there right by the ball. Like, what are you doing? And Jalen, I said, boy, they're going to get on him in that. And when they look at thing on, he's staying away. He's saying, okay, I don't want to get hurt. Well, but that was one that, and normally, Jason Kelce, he's one of their better players. Now he snapped that ball over his head, and it's the kind of thing where that game was laying in the balance there in the end zone. Because I think if the Panthers jump on that ball, that was pretty much it. But they let him hang around, and then I tell you, the kid Quez Watkins, this kid he continues to show up, and he's the fastest player they have on the team. So he's got the speed, but he's a pretty good size wide receiver. So they got to find other ways to get him involved in the offense. And I just don't like what they're doing offensively. I mean, sometimes I'm going like, what are they doing offensively? I don't know. If I was the owner, I'd probably come down there, to the locker room and say, hey, who was calling the plays? Okay, whoever raised their hand, I said, well, okay, now that's now I just saved me some money, because you're not getting paid, and you're also not going back on the plane. You're out of, because that was just a terrible job of the play calling. They couldn't get anything going, and it just didn't seem like there was no creativity to the offense. And they get away from any motion, because if you look in the league now, they are really doing a great job utilizing motion, because what they do is they get the linebackers and the defensive backs, they get them going the wrong way with their eyes. And so a lot of times they'll get that guy in motion, and they'll call the snap the ball just when he's behind the center, or he's right there in that middle, and he's going the other direction. Well, boom. Next thing you know, they're going to head the other way when you're looking over there, because it draws your eyes over there. And the Eagles, they had done more of that against the Chiefs, but they weren't doing it against Carolina, because Carolina, they got some good pieces to their defense. You see, they got some good DBs. Yeah. But the pass rush really didn't get home as much as they probably would like it to. But, they got some good aspects to their game. But the big thing is, their quarterback can't continue to make all those mistakes. You can't win with your quarterback throwing 3 picks. And then you get a punt block, too. That's a lot of errors, even if they really kind of outplayed the Eagles. That's why you got a lot of people, and I go to grab something to eat, and the people in the store goes, oh, they're mad. They don't even want, to accept the fact the Eagles won. Oh, that's terrible. They won. I mean, hey, they found a way to win.
I'm with you, man. I mean, look, you don't get style points in the NFL. You can win a game 3-2. Let's move on. College football is a beauty pageant, not the NFL. But the things that you were saying, Gary, to me, the motion and all that stuff, I think this is all predicated on the inability, I should say, for them to run the ball. They ran it 22 times in this game, but still, man, I mean, Miles Sanders, I don't know if the kid's good or not. I can't tell, because they don't give him a chance to get into any kind of flow.
That's right.
They don't utilize any of their backs in the passing game. Yeah. I mean, it almost like motion, you and I are defenders, and we know this. Well, they're going to run the ball probably 15 times at best today.
That's
so,
right.
quite frankly, I'm just going to pin my ears back, or maybe I'm going to cover the seam in the tight end coming off the line.
Yeah.
He's going to have a block and release because I'm not going to believe in that running game. If they can't establish that, you're making it predictable and one-dimensional. Do you agree?
Yes, and, I just don't see, and this is something about a wide receiver coach being a head coach. He thinks the answer to everything is, well, we need to put in this little wrinkle in that route and everything. That's the answer to everything. That's not the answer to everything. And I just don't see the toughness side to where you're going to be able to sit in there and talk to you guys and say, hey, close the door over there. Look, this is nothing but a fist fight.
Yeah.
And I'll be doggone it. Hey, you big guys here, how much are we paying you guys? How much are these guys making?
Yeah.
Look, we're putting this ball on the ground. Some of these plays, we're going to hit these guys right in the mouth, and we don't care. And we want fighters. You guys got to be ready to fight. This is nothing but a fist fight. And, you got to have that side to the coach where there's a toughness side, because that's part of football. And I just don't see it with their running game, man. Everything is trickery, with the run pass option and everything. And there's not that grit where you say, look, we're going to establish a running game and we're going to make it plain. And the good teams that run the ball, they have certain runs that they're going to run. They don't care what you line up in. And they're going to run the ball. And the Eagles, they don't have that. I don't see that side to them. And I think part of it's because I think the coach looks at things, everything through that wide receiver coach eyes. But you got to have a physical toughness factor to your team, because that's part of the game. You can't get away from that too much. So I would like them to come out and start saying, hey, we're running the ball 25 times. It's just a matter of when we're going to take them. But you can't get so far away from the run to where you're going to beat good teams. Now, they won that game, but Carolina helped them, because Carolina, made enough mistakes. Not that you got to give them credit. They get the W, but against a good team, you're not going to win. So
Garrett,
they got to get that run game going.
Gary, do you agree when I say everything you're saying? You can't build football teams from the perimeter in, and I don't think you can win games from the perimeter in.
Yep.
And to me, like you say, Sirianni is looking through the wide receiver's lens and the wide receiver kaleidoscope, and usually that turns your team into a finesse team. And I'm not going to call them soft, but it's a soft mentality, like you say, that, you're looking for space. You're not looking to pound the ball. You're not looking to get into that fist fight. Yeah. You're looking to try to outsmart. I'm all for outsmarting.
Yes.
But I'm also, it's football, and you've got to line up. And that's where I thought the defense, at least on the other side, they played with a force in their Hargrave, like you say, dude.
Yeah.
Since the first day, you said, Dan, watch this guy. He's not just going to the Pro Bowl. He's an all-pro. That guy is something else.
Yes,
but on the other side of the football, I think what it does, the identity of the Eagles right now is, watch this. They occasionally play really tough defense on one side of the ball. And I don't want to say the word soft, but okay, let's use finesse on offense. And it just doesn't seem to mix it up right now. Do you think he's too finesse of a coach for this offense?
I definitely, I've been over there for the practices, hearing him talk. He does not emphasize that part where, look, you got to be able to tell your guys, look, we are winning this fight. And I want you to do whatever you got to do. We got to move this guy out of this hole. And that's part of it. It's nothing more than that. And I think you got some players that I think that can play on that level. I mean, they got some offensive linemen that I think want to do that. Come on, offensive linemen, they like to run block.
Yeah.
They don't want, come on. And then but you're going to throw the ball so much, you really put them in a tough situation where, come on, you got some very athletic guys coming off that corner. I mean, how many times this guy got to block that guy? Let him knock him in the mouth a couple times, And I just think that he's got to learn that, and clearly he's learning to be a head coach. He's really learning, and he cannot get away from that part of it. And I think he needs some older guys around there. He's got one good, older coach, the offensive line coach. But I think he needs some veteran coaches around there to really get in his ear and say, hey, coach, we need to let these guys come off, fire off, and hit somebody and let them know. So we need some regular running plays, not RPOs. Everything's RPO. I mean, come on. Let the guy, let's get us established with, some runs off the corner where these guys are going to double team. Even if we bring in extra tight end, or even if we bring in one of the guards and put him at fullback or whatever, we need to have that side to us to where, like on the goal line, going like, look, we're not running any trickery down there. Get some extra, put some of them guards at fullback. I mean,
they're just not very, Gary, they're just not very tough in the red zone, dude. I just don't respect the play calling down there.
Hey, another touchdown callback. Come on.
Yeah.
And they don't teach that, right? But you see where his mind is at. We got to run a pick play to get in the end zone every week.
And he got called on it. And they got called on it.
And they got called on it again. This team is on the way to have the most touchdowns called back in the history of the game. They've already got like 5. Because you got 2 wide receivers. Both of them got pushed out of bounds and they caught touchdowns. Those were called back. You've had at least 2 or 3 pick plays have been called back. And then there was a offensive lineman downfield that was called back.
Yep.
So that's 5 games, 5 touchdowns called back. They're trying to break a record. It's not a good record. It's not a good record.
It's not a good record. Thursday Night Football against the Bucs. Tell me a little bit about preparation now. Now you're going to be playing against Tom Brady. He's coming into the link. That's an advantage. At least you got the guy at home. Yep. I mean, they've struggled in the secondary. Now, the Bucs have injuries all over the secondary. One of the reasons why they signed Richard Sherman.
Yep.
But here's a football team that struggles and really with accuracy with the quarterback position. So tell me how you see the preparation this week for Eagles and Bucs.
Well, we know. I mean, we've been talking about Nick Sirianni, and Nick is going to try to, win this game throwing the ball. Of course, they got those injuries. So, they're going to try to throw the ball. They're not going to be coming in there trying to run the ball against the Bucs. And with his mentality that he said before, when he was looking at them playing the Chiefs, he's looking at them playing the Bucs. He's saying, hey, these guys are going to score some points. So the Eagles are going to try to emulate them, and they're going to throw the ball 50 times. I mean, you might as well know that's the kind of game you're going to play. And, it's going to be tough for them to win this game. I mean, because they got a young team. You got veterans over there with Tampa Bay. These guys know what it takes, and they know how to make adjustments during the game. So it's going to be a tough game to go in there and win. But the big thing they want to do, and I just want to just talk about this just a little bit, is the fact that even though they want to win every game, ultimately this year is not just about that. This is about finding your young players. Who do we have on this team that we know this is one of our guys that we can win with this kid? And so they're looking for those type of players. And so that's a big thing to see. Now, I just hopefully that, Jalen plays well, that you have, Sanders be a part of the game plan. You get Devontae Smith, that he comes in and is able to contribute. So because they're competing against some quality players. This team won the Super Bowl last year. So when you play against these type of quality teams, you get a chance to say, hey, how good am I? Well, if you can compete with them, that, hey, you're on a marquee level, a playoff team level. Team eventually has a chance to win a championship. If you can't compete with them, then you have to go back to the drawing board and go, okay, we know kind of how far we got to go. We got a long way
Gary,
to go.
To your point, I think the thing that galvanized the Cowboys, when the Cowboys walked off that field at Raymond James against the Buccaneers, what you just said, to me, I think that galvanized not just Dak, but everybody on that Cowboy team, because ever since that game, they played lights out football, because I think a game like that, even in the loss, right?
Yes, you're right.
It gave them belief, right?
That's right. And you're exactly right. That's what it did. It was kind of a way in which, hey, we're playing against these guys won the Super Bowl last year. And we went toe-to-toe with them. So we know we are one of the good teams in the league. And the Cowboys are clearly playing like a confident team to where they're playing the game going, it's just a matter of time. We're taking over this game and we're going to win this game walking away. And that's what they've been doing. They've been pretty much dominating everybody they played. And the Eagles hope to at least show themselves somewhere on that road, where you're on that road. And this is a measurement, because if you can go in and keep it competitive and where you're in the fourth quarter and you're fighting tooth to tooth, you know that, hey, we've made some progress. Now, if you're going there and, you look up and the fans are leaving and it's the third quarter, you got a long way to go. We don't want that. And it'll get ugly in Philly. We don't need that.
Absolutely. Hey, Garry, I've got to ask you this one here. Yeah. And I'm going to take you off script here for a second.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I know you've heard the story of John Gruden.
Yeah.
As a team leader.
Yeah.
How would you handle that situation with something that happened in 2011? Yeah. And personally, I don't care if it happened in 2011 or 11 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So to me, it's something that does have to be addressed. Josh Allen had to address tweets he made years ago on his Twitter when he first was signed by Buffalo. He had to answer that. How would you as a team leader handle that locker room?
Well, the big thing is, now I know John Gruden. See, I
do too, and I don't believe he's a racist, Garry. No, I think he said something that was racist.
Yeah, he said something that was racist, and there will be times somebody could get mad at somebody and say something and not really mean it where they mean it to the core of it, but they just making an insult because they're mad. But I think the thing that you got to do is he needs to talk to his players. You need the guys that know him talk to his players and be straight up about it, which I saw what he had said, that he came out and he admitted what he had done. And hopefully, I didn't want to see, people get shredded just for stuff like that, because, I think John has been, well, I met John years ago when he was working for Ray Rhodes.
Yeah.
And Ray Rhodes always a straight up guy. And I met him there and I've known him for years. And he never had any kind of problem here because, look how, the majority of the league is black. He's never had any problem with any players in the league. And if there was an issue, it would have come out years ago. Come on.
Even Tirico, who's worked with him for 11 years, goes like this. I've been around John Gruden. I've been over to his house. I go, I've never witnessed anything like that. So, again, we're in cancel culture time now, Garry. So, like you and I said, it's stupid.
10, 11 years ago, why does it come out, all of a sudden now? It's like people are trying to take people out, Like I said, if somebody's got an issue, it comes out because, come on, 70-80% of the league is black. And if there's an issue, it would have come out,
Yeah. So absolutely. Hey, Garry, I appreciate it, my friend. Awesome stuff as always. Thank you so much, Garry.
Good deal. Have a great one.
You got it. Our friend Garry Cobb from Fox 29. We'll take a brief time out, get back to all your thoughts. Jim, Robert, Jay, appreciate you guys all coming aboard here on a Football Monday for the National Football Show.